pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, just one moment, we're gonna get that down recording. Now we're good. As soon as we stop. All right, thank you. A little strong. Roll call, please.
Don Stedman.
Here.
Dick Parker.
Here.
Melanie Arviaz.
Here.
Lyle Winnet.
Here.
Debbie Turner.
Here. City's President. Seeking approval of the February 9th, 2015 board meeting minutes. Is there a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, a motion from Dick, is there support? Lyle support. All those in favor, please respond with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. The board perfection of the agenda. Hearing no board perfection of the agenda, I would like a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Lyle has made the motion, support. Dick, okay. Lyle moved, Dick supported. All those in favor, please respond with aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. We have reports on file. And
Okay.
did you write to the,
WLAA report.
that was the email right after the meeting. That was an email out right after the meeting. That's the one that we had the audit and stuff in. Report.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that one. Okay. The first one's the, seems to be the most controversial subject, so you can definitely have a board discussion without, and get your point across without getting too loud and upset, we hope so. We do have some disagreeing of opinion. I find out if you would like to go first, Dick, or you would like
No,
me
I'll
to?
go first.
Okay. All right.
First thing here is that White Lake Ambulance Authority is billing us for either $9,596 or $99.72.50. I don't know which one for sure, but what they're trying to bill us for is a deficit that they say they have. And in the Articles of Incorporation for the White Lake Ambulance Authority, it says that every unit that's in that authority has to pay its fair share of any operating or budgeted operating deficit. The deal is, they do not have a deficit. There is no way that you can come up with a deficit. What they're billing us here for is bills, not a deficit. Now, I've taken it upon myself to, because this legal opinion that we got, which we're gonna talk about later on too, under clerk requested to replace attorney. Our attorney, on behalf of White Lake Ambulance Authority, which is a clear conflict of interest, has given us an opinion that says a deficit book, says my opinion that the reference to a deficit in the operating expense budget means, if somebody can explain this, what it means, explain it to me. I've been a CPA almost 40 years. If you can understand it, you're better a CPA than I am. Means an excess of liabilities over that which was calculated in the budget of expenses of the authority. That's just so much lawyer gobbledygook. It means nothing. deficit, and, well, in the legal opinion, she cites the Uniform Budgeting Act, which I have a copy of, and also MCL 141.422B4, which is actually part of the Uniform Budgeting Act. And the definition of a budget, or a deficit, this is out of the Uniform Budgeting Act that she talks about first. Deficit means an excess of liabilities and reserves over, or reserves of a fund over its assets. Okay? You cannot make a deficit at that ambulance authority, according to the financial statements that we have from them. You cannot make a deficit. First of all, in June 30, 2013, their audit said they had, I think it was like $800,000 deficit, or to the good fund balance. Okay? That would mean for them to be able to come up with this $99,000 or whatever it is that they're trying to build all these other units, they would have had to have lost $900,000 from June 30, 2013 until now. They didn't lose $900,000. They've actually given us a financial statement for the current fiscal year that they're in now that shows their profit from July 1, 2014 to February 21, which is the last one we have, of $117,000. And then they've given us a copy of their budget for the fiscal year June 30, 15 that they're in right now. And that shows a budgeted profit of $3,200. So they don't have this operating expense budget deficit. They don't have a fund deficit. There is no way you can get deficit at the White Lake Ambulance Authority using the financial statements. It ain't gonna happen. And they're trying to say that a deficit is not what the Uniform Budgeting Act talks about. They're saying, she says right here in the opinion, the authority is required to comply with the Uniform Budgeting Act. For them to bill us for a deficit is not complying with the Uniform Budgeting Act. And then, she also states in here about an operating expense budget. So, in the Uniform Budgeting and Accounting Act, I went to the section that describes what a budget is. This would describe a budget, which it's an operating budget, what this is describing. Budget means a plan of financial operation for a given period of time, including an estimate of all proposed expenditures from the funds of a local unit and the proposed means, which is revenue, of financing the expenditures. They've given us that. Revenues exceed expenditures by $3,200 in their budget. Not a deficit. So they don't have an operating fund deficit, or budgeted operating deficit, and they don't have a fund deficit. So this bill that they're sending us for the, whatever it was, $10,000, close enough, 10,000 to be 10,000, is an illegitimate bill. It's not a, they cannot give us that. They can't say they have a deficit, and you can't just bill somebody saying you've got this or that, and bill us when you do. You can't. You don't have the authority to do it. It's like Debbie trying to send a $100 bill to every taxpayer here and say, pay it, or if you don't pay it, we're gonna put it on your property and take your property from us, from you if you don't pay it. It's an illegitimate bill. Nobody's gonna pay it. You're gonna get sued for that. Nobody's gonna pay us that $100 if they got any brains. And then, well, I'll use this, I'll come up with this in this request to replace attorney to the clerk. I'll come up with this from the state bar.
Okay.
But does anybody have any questions that I can, you still got any questions in your mind about whether they have a deficit or not?
I do.
What?
I have a question, okay? Now, looking at the profit and loss year-to-date comparison, I guess, okay, are we the only township that have not paid?
Best I
No,
know, us and
Fruitland Township has not paid
Okay.
also.
Right.
How much did Fruitland owe? Do you know?
23,000, I believe.
Okay,
No.
somewhere around there, okay. So then if you put another 10 from us, then that's $43,000 they still.
33.
33, yeah.
Oh, sorry, you're right, okay. And I was looking at this profit loss year-to-date comparison, okay? It shows on here that as of February 21st, 2015, the net income is $117,606.08.
Correct.
But, excuse me, that includes the deficit recovery from the other members, which
How much?
is $59,315, okay? And then we looked at the amount of money that the ambulance owes in accounts payable, which was the $63,839.20.
But we don't know that that local guy at $5,000 is a business for an expense, or if it's some kind of a debt.
Isn't a local guy, isn't that a business?
As a business.
I thought it
Well,
was.
it's an even $5,000. Did that place loan $5,000 to the
No,
ambulance
this is
authority?
work that they are
What's it
paying.
for?
That's in your bills, is that? Is that in these bills? Or is that just, no, that's.
It
Twin
just-
City-
it just
Twin
says
Cities,
total.
Twin Cities what I'm thinking of. No, I'm thinking of Twin Cities.
Yeah, it just shows the total.
Twin Cities is
Of
a local
outstanding
guy?
debt to those
Right,
places.
to these
Is
different
Twin
places.
Cities a local, called the local guy?
No, I said, that's what I was thinking of. It's
Oh,
not, the
okay.
same thing I was thinking of.
Well, before I agree to that, I want to know what that $5,000 is for. Is it for an expense,
Well, that's
or
what
is
it
it
looks
for a
like.
loan?
Those are businesses that are still outstanding debts. We didn't take
Just
loans.
because they have it on their.
No, they didn't take loans other than the
Well, there's somebody,
equity
'cause
line that they.
I've been involved with nonprofits before, and somebody will loan them money to help make it through. Is this
Right.
local guy, is that an
This was
individual
not loans they
that
received.
loaned them money, or is it an expense for a service? And what service does this local guy provide? What service does he provide?
But that's just one out of a long list.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, it's $5,000
Right.
even though.
Right,
Okay,
right, that's because
so
they're trying to pay things off. They work to pay things off.
I guess what I'm trying to figure out here, okay, if we have in here, it says $117,606 as of February 21st.
Okay.
That's the net income. And I'm taking out of it the $59,315 that the other
That brings you down to 55.
municipalities.
Right.
Right, and then I took out the bills, which were
For 50.
$63,839, so they would be $5,548.12 in the red.
But
Yes.
that's a loss at February 21. And it's only $5,000 for one thing. But we can't pay on a, let's say that's a deficit. That's not their deficit for the whole year. We don't know what we don't know what they've made up till now. We don't know what they're gonna make April, May, and June. That business and that, articles of incorporation, instead of saying operating budget deficit, or deficit operating budget, however, where is it?
Any
It should
operating
say-
budget.
Operating deficit or fund deficit, whatever, based on the prior year's audit, something like that. We can't just be paying money out because some bookkeeper says they've got a loss. If you look at those statements, you had to just convert from cash basis to accrual. So you're relying on some bookkeeper to tell you that and that's just deficit at that particular point, February 21. I'd never give you a statement at February 21. It'd be January 31 or February 28. You don't cut it off on February 21.
The reason they did that is to try to have.
I don't care why they
For
did
their
it, it's
meeting.
wrong.
It might not be how you would do things, Dick, but I think it's the fact that we continue to say we need ongoing
Okay, but they
information.
do not, that still does not make a
And-
deficit.
And you don't agree with the articles. I don't agree with the articles.
Right.
I think the articles need to be changed because it says any operating budget deficit. It doesn't say we get to pick and choose. So
A
at the time this
deficit
bill
is not
was,
at February 21. A deficit is at the end of the year. Because at February 21, like February 28, they might have brought some more money in, and they didn't have a deficit.
Which is why I disagree with the articles, because it says any operating
No,
budget
well,
deficit.
I don't.
So
It says
in
the
my,
operating- It says budgeted operating deficit.
in my mind, that
Well, you're
means when
wrong.
these
I've been a
bills were out.
CPA almost 40 years, I know more
Dick,
about this
I
than
allowed you to
anybody in this
talk.
whole room.
Dick, I allowed you to
Okay,
talk.
you go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate that. There's no reason to get over anxious. I think there's a couple things to
You
consider.
know what? You got people out here that have had to bust their hind end to earn money, to pay their property taxes,
Right.
and now they think we're just gonna blow these people's money?
Let me
We're not
explain
gonna
mine.
blow these people's money, that's 10,000
Dick,
bucks.
please,
I
let me
never got to
explain mine.
finish myself.
Thank you. Now I'm gonna ask you to be quiet while I
I
do.
still didn't get to finish.
I'm, okay, are you, you've got more, Debbie's got more, so
All
please
right.
let Debbie finish and then I will.
Okay. All right, so I find a deficit as of February 21st of $5,548.12. Now, you have to remember that they get money from us from our taxes because there was a levy millage that we pay. But they only get that through the end of February. And they would probably get another lump sum from the county for what the taxes that were not paid, that were delinquent.
Right.
So I noticed on their statement here, they have it through the end of June, and they show, like Dick said, $3,264 to the good after that. But if you notice in the April, May, and June, they show going in the red because in what they spend, because they don't get any money in at that time, okay?
Not
So-
from taxes.
Right, so I guess what I'm thinking is, I think that the way they divvied it up was wrong. I don't think that we should pay that much, but I still think that we need to pay our share of it, and I just don't know how they can change that.
Well, that's based on the dollar amount in the SEV, so that's where the
Well,
formula is
I
within the,
understand that, but I
Right.
mean, if it's not $92,000 deficit,
right.
then,
But that was as of October 14th, and that's where I go back to any budget, operating budget deficit. That's what I'm saying. I do not like the way the articles say, because to me, it sounds like it can be done anytime and they need to be rewritten. I'm not the only one on the White Lake Ambulance Board that agrees with that notion that they need rewritten.
okay, I just wanted to let you know how I felt about this. I feel that, you know, if they need to be helped, we need to be part of it because we are part of the White Lake Ambulance, but I don't think that the amount that we were given was fair.
I think that was based on the formula, so,
I know it
yeah.
is, I know it is.
I
but
think that
don't
was
think that the-
adjusted,
I don't think that the $92,000 was the
Right.
correct amount.
and they actually paid on a higher, the rest of them went paid.
Okay, so what
Right.
they did was they changed it from $9,972.50 to $9,596 for us, is that
Correct.
correct? The
Correct,
amount that we
because-
owe now is the $9,596.
Because of the request for the review of the bills that match the invoice sent, correct. The original invoice that was sent out in October.
So did the other municipalities get money back?
Not at this point,
How come this is dated January 22?
because you got it in February. You got this in February now,
Okay,
Which
but the
one?
bill came out a long time ago.
correct, in
So do
October,
we owe 99.7250 or 95.96?
95.96.
Well, this says 99.7250.
Well, are you
I
looking
don't
at the
care about-
January 27th?
Yeah,
Okay,
January
the
27th.
corrected
All
bill
right.
of January
now,
27th.
can
Wait a
I
minute,
speak?
no, I get you.
Okay.
All right, thank you. A couple things, the White Lake Ambulance, the opinion from the attorney is to the White Lake Ambulance Authority at the request that I made at the board meeting for the White Lake regarding two things. One, what does that mean for the any operating budget deficit? And two, what it happens in the event that the township does not pay? Two things, one, at the point, even the forensic audit indicates that at where we were in a deficit, and that, let's put it the right way. Authority accounts payable including retirement contributions were not paid due to lack of operating cash in the authority banking accounts as of November 28, 2014.
That's
So that
basic,
means there was no money there to pay them.
that's a forensic audit, not an audit.
Correct, that's forensic audit.
Forensic audit is
Sorry.
not an audit.
It's a forensic audit.
It's not an
Correct.
audit. It's not a
Thank you.
financial audit.
Thank you. I'm just saying, let me talk. And then, so this opinion was written to the ambulance authority itself. It's billed to the ambulance authority. What I did was took that and passed it on to this board because that's one of the boards, not just us, but Fruitland is asking this question. My next question was, because that's one of the arguments, my next question was, what happens if we do not pay this invoice? Well, by the authorities, by laws, we can be removed from the authority. The township can be removed from the authority. What happens if the township is moved from the authority is we're no longer under the jurisdiction of White Lake Ambulance Service. So that means either we contract independently with White Lake to still try to cover our area, or we go with ProMed, who then would have to come out of probably North Muskegon or Hesperia, because that's where their ambulances are stationed outside their other jurisdiction. And then the other problem is our citizens would continue to pay for the 2015 and 2016 tax year that .55 mils on their taxes for a service they are not getting because we would not be covered under that jurisdiction. And they would probably pay additional because my understanding is not only do you pay the call, but you also pay mileage. So if you're paying mileage on top of, and the ambulance is having to respond further, it's going to cost more. So that's one, I think that's a bigger issue than arguing over continuing not to pay this 95.96 when we could potentially put every one of our citizens at risk by who knows how long the ambulance service would have to respond. At this point, Dr. Evans would like 8 minutes response, even to the far sides of our township. White Lake out of Whitehall can't quite make the 8 minutes, but they're pretty close, maybe closer to 10. So making that an longer period, I think is a, definitely something we better consider because this is a much larger and overall picture that we have to look at. Myself, I believe there was a deficit in October when this was billed, and I don't like the articles either.
How can I talk?
Let's let Don or Lyle.
I have a problem with this attorney and a conflict of interest, how one attorney can be our attorney and yet be their attorney. I think she should have just exited herself from this whole situation and got somebody else. And I'm not willing to make a decision until we do talk to some other attorney. We need to hire an outside attorney, our township alone if necessary, to get a true opinion of what Dick's talking about, the deficit spending, and some other questions.
So you'd like a legal opinion on, a legal opinion from Blue Lake Township, because this is the White Lake Ambulance Authorities. And that is the attorney for the White Lake Ambulance Authority, that is who would, whether it's our attorney or not, that's where it was asked for the information, so that is who would respond.
And
If
it's
you
truly
want a
conflict
legal-
of interest that
See, I'm not sure, because I didn't ask her for one for the township, and one from there, I asked her for one through the White Lake Ambulance
But
Authority,
it's-
so,
part of the authority, she has to be our attorney in that regard, but she's also our personal attorney for the township.
but I haven't asked her for anything for the township.
That's a conflict.
So at that
She's still
point,
working for the township though.
but at that point, Doug uses, or in any associate in his office, but at that point, that would be when that question arises. At this point, I didn't ask her for something for the township, since it's something for the ambulance authority, that is who the attorney is, but I didn't turn around. So if you want a different opinion, a legal opinion,
Yes, I do.
okay? Would
Not
Jim
from Doug.
Rose,
No.
okay? That was,
We're
that
gonna
was,
replace the lawyer.
no, at this point,
Well, right here we're not, but when I get to it, we're going to.
what we're at the point of Lyle asking for a legal opinion
Hmm?
from a different
Our
attorney.
lawyer, he's not gonna be our lawyer.
Do you have an attorney of preference? Obviously, Mr. Parker has a problem with Mr. Rose.
No, I don't have a problem with Jim Rose. You just keep going.
Dalton Township and Cedar Creek and a couple other ones have, agency out of Grand Rapids, maybe we should contact them.
Just for the legal opinion?
No,
So you're talking about just a legal, you want a legal opinion on the township's side, is what you're asking for?
Yes, I want to leave.
You want an outside legal opinion, so that is what we need to look at.
let's wait till we get to this part under the clerk, request to replace attorney. We're gonna replace the attorney.
And that's a board decision, I'm sorry,
I
Dick.
understand that.
But that
That's
is a
what-
board decision. So
We're
let's
gonna do.
deal with this issue.
Fine, but don't go writing down that you're gonna contact another lawyer without
That
thinking we're
depends
gonna
on
replace
if
the
there's a
lawyer.
motion made
There
and
will
what
be.
the board decides. Excuse me, Dick, please, there is no need to argue. This is a board decision.
Fine, keep it
Okay.
going.
All right, so now we have a request from Lyle. And Don hasn't got to make a statement yet. So Lyle's request is that we get a legal opinion outside of our attorney's office.
Is that a legal opinion about, do we pay the bill or not?
A legal attorney's opinion for, what is your legal attorney opinion going to be? What are we asking him an opinion on?
Every decision that Susan Franklin has made, we've got to address each one to see if it's
Every decision she's made for the White Lake Ambulance
for
Board?
us
No,
or
this,
against us.
no, that's not, this hasn't, she hasn't made any against us or for us for this ambulance authority. Only for the ambulance. She hasn't made any for the township, so if we're getting an outside opinion, are you wanting an opinion on someone else's opinion on the articles and what they say?
No,
Okay, then,
but
You
I
want
just-
it for the deficit, if there actually is a deficit, is that right?
Yes, because I don't understand it,
okay,
so I need an attorney that can tell me if this is truly a deficit or it's not, and if it's in violation of the law by calling it a deficit.
well, you mean what the articles say? So you'd have to bring the articles in because you have to look at what the articles are.
Right.
So you need the, regarding the invoice as a deficit, if that's a deficit. And you want the opinion of the articles regarding the any budget, the same thing. Do you want an opinion regarding removal of person from the authority if they don't?
Yeah,
Okay.
that should be part of it.
So the articles, the two parts, the sentence on the any operating budget deficit and the removal of municipalities. So, okay,
Can I ask you a quick question?
yeah.
Do we have a certain length of time in order to pay this bill? And if we did pay it, can we pay it in protest and be able to get it back if we find out something different?
That I'm not sure, that couldn't be done, but I will tell you at the last meeting, the discussion was removing the townships that have not paid their invoices.
Because I'm just wondering, if we
Sure.
paid it because we want to stay in,
Mhm.
but pay it under protest, if that's a possibility or not, in order to
Okay.
stay in, but if we find out something different, that we would be able to get the money back. That's what I'm feeling right now, anyway.
All right. Well, I will tell you, our meeting's not until the end of the month, last Wednesday of the month, but in the meantime, that has been brought up for discussion, that removing the two townships that have not paid. I think that would be devastating to our citizens. I think it would be far more expensive than the warrants of this $10,000 to them. And I certainly don't want to see that happen, especially anyone that has to use the ambulance service.
I don't think they'd drop Fruitland, would they? I mean, that's the biggest,
Yes, they would both be removed for the same reason, and both of them were discussed as being removed. So,
Actually, they don't have.
Hey.
uh,
now we got Don's, are you done?
yeah.
Okay, we think, and we haven't we haven't made a motion on that yet, so that's something we'd have to come back to if you wanna make a motion on that regarding the outside legal opinion,
Okay,
because then I also need to know which attorney to use. So, that's just a thought. Don, would you?
I don't think we're gonna get out of paying for this. I did it myself, just like anybody else. But we are the person asking for this money. We are the one asking for this money. We haven't gotten away from that yet. We're part of that organization, and the prices were sent out in some, however they put it together for each unit of the government. But we gave them that right when we made it. We made it. We didn't join it, we made it. And they're trying to get out of it because we made a mistake. I made a mistake. I was there for 12, 16 years. And I didn't see it, and a lot of the people on the board did not see what it was. But with all of this rigmarole that's been going on, they found out that it was not illegal. Not done in a illegal status. The person just did not do right, didn't allow us, boy, I couldn't say it like that. But we did not get to see everything that was going on. And we made those decisions that got us in trouble. And now we gotta get it out and stay with it. As Melanie said from the beginning, I've been thinking about it for the longest. The only other people that can come out here is the other ambulance service, and it's gonna take longer to get here than it does from Whitehall. That's all I got to say about it.
Okay.
Now can I talk?
Yep.
All right, first of all, I don't think they can throw us out because we don't pay an illegitimate bill. And part of the legal opinion that we get from our new lawyer should be to say, for him to give us an opinion, him or her, give us an opinion whether they can throw us out for this illegitimate bill. This is an illegitimate bill. They cannot, they're supposed to abide by the Uniform Budgeting Act, and they're not. Right there, it says a budget is for a given period. You're picking up October, then you're picking up February 21. They're not deficits. It's not, that's not the way you do it. Just not the way you do it. Supposed to comply with the Uniform Budgeting Act, do it. Comply with the Uniform Budgeting Act. And you might as well, I would think we might as well save the motion about getting an outside opinion until we get done with replacing the lawyer. See if we're gonna do that or not. Because as far as I'm concerned, when we get a legal opinion from our own lawyer that threatens us, and that's what the last half of this thing is doing, is threatening us, what's gonna happen to us if we don't pay, and then coming up with some, my Casper's here, so I
Be
can't.
nice. Be nice.
Some half-baked explanation of what a deficit is. They're specifically turning this against us, our own lawyer. That's why, and this is an absolute conflict of interest. You can't serve two masters. I have some copies here that I'm gonna read when we're replacing the lawyer, right straight from the State Bar of Michigan, that says this is a conflict of interest. Doesn't matter that you asked the ambulance authority lawyer to give you a legal opinion. That's still our lawyer. That's a conflict of interest. If she didn't know that's a conflict of interest, they deserve to be fired,
Amen?
I think.
Okay. Well, I have one more thing too, if we are removed from the authority, not only would we not be covered by the White Lake ambulance, but we also would still be liable for all monies owed up to the point that we are removed. So that includes this bill.
Well, I disagree.
I know you disagree, I
It's
understand
an
that.
illegitimate bill.
So I'm gonna ask Lyle, which way do you want to go with your idea on the outside legal opinion? Do you want an emotion within this, because that would be something that could happen immediately? Or you want to wait until we get an attorney, which in turn could put us in the point of being removed? Because at whatever point the ambulance authority decides on their portion to move forward,
We can have a legal opinion now.
so then I would need,
Okay, I'll make a motion that we have an outside attorney for a legal opinion on the above raised questions that you've noted.
invoices of deficit, articles regarding any operating budget item, and removal of municipalities, is the notes I have.
Oh, yeah.
But then if we choose a different attorney, that same person could do both.
Well, we don't know yet. So,
Could do both.
you're making a motion,
Could do both what?
Yes.
that wouldn't be in that motion. That would be, because that would be something,
No, he said could do both. Could
Right.
do both what?
Lyle? Wait, okay, we got a motion. Let's go
What's
with
the
that.
motion?
First one, we got a second. Wait a minute. Okay, we got a motion. Could you read kindly?
To have an outside independent legal opinion for Blue Lake Township regarding the White Lake Ambulance Authority invoices deficit, the White Lake Ambulance Authority articles regarding any operating budget, and the removal of municipalities.
Okay, that's the motion from Lyle. Does that sound correct, Lyle?
Mhm.
Is there support?
Let me answer that before you do it.
Well, no, wait a minute.
Would you read it one more time, Laura, please?
To have an outside independent legal opinion for Blue Lake Township regarding the White Lake Ambulance Authority invoice as a deficit, the White Lake Ambulance Authority articles regarding any operating budget, and the removal of municipalities from the
It should say any operating budget deficit. There's
deficit.
one word missing, yeah.
Any operating budget deficit.
Mhm.
Should it also say, can they remove us for not paying this bill
That would be part of the
if we don't
question.
agree?
That's,
And removal of,
If they can't prove.
and removal of municipalities, so.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I guess that's already a motion, so I can't change it.
Well, no, what happens is Lyle, I need a second, and then we can discuss it. If there's any changes, we ask them to amend it.
Okay.
So is there a second?
I'll second
Okay, there's support and second, now there's discussion. Don had something first.
Yeah, when you made that statement, are you talking about the firm or are you talking about the attorney?
Firm.
No, that's later, this is only a legal opinion. This is an outside legal opinion with a,
What are you
Can't get a
doing?
legal opinion from Williams and Hughes.
no, it's an outside legal opinion, yes.
That's
so-
what I'm talking about.
Right, okay, so yes, it's outside of our attorney's office.
So you gotta
Yeah.
say firm rather than the name of the firm.
Law firm.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, Debbie, you had
You
something?
know why?
Well, I was wondering if we could add to it that we would, pay the bill under protest after,
That would be a separate motion?
I didn't know whether we could put it in there that after conferring with outside legal.
Well, what we'd have to do is get the opinion back and then come back as a board. To pay it or not pay
The
it.
authority would have to authorize that too.
Have to authorize what?
Us getting our money back, we pay it under protest and then we end up,
So that would be, we would, if you want an outside legal opinion, we need to, outside of our attorneys, we need to get that first. So we have the motion that says we're gonna get an outside legal opinion,
Okay, I
and
understand.
we have support. Is any other discussion? So roll call on the motion.
Lyle,
yes.
Dick,
yeah.
Don,
I guess yes.
Melanie,
Aye.
Debbie.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Now the question is, number 2, whom to get for that opinion?
Somebody in Grand Rapids, somebody away from this area, has no connection with
Rapids?
the ambulance authority.
Okay, your suggestion was that we try to contract with, and I have to find out the firm that is Dalton's
And Cedar Creek.
and Cedar Creek's legal firm. Okay, I'll have to find that out. So then I would seek a motion that authorizes me to contact, and the legal firm used by Dalton and Cedar Creek to seek this legal opinion? Do I hear a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, so Dick, and we'll wait and let Laura read it back, just to make sure.
Contact Dalton.
Do you have something you can read back, or?
A motion that authorizes the supervisor to contact the legal firms used by Dalton and Cedar Creek, those were just townships, and then you said to seek this legal opinion. Do you want to be a little more?
Authorize the supervisor, so I can contact them and
Okay.
seek this legal opinion.
Okay.
Does that sound right, Dick?
I'd have to read your request first before I tell you it's all right.
No, I meant not that
The motion.
literal request, the motion.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there's a motion by Dick, is there support?
I'll support.
Okay, Debbie supports. Roll call.
Deb?
Yeah.
Debbie?
Yes.
Lyle? Don?
Yes.
Melanie?
Aye. Motion carried. So now your last question was Debbie was regarding paying this under protest. I think if you're seeking an outside legal opinion, you would want that opinion beforehand.
Yes.
And the best I can do is inform the authority board for the White Lake ambulance that is the direction we're going.
Legal.
Yes.
How would we have a legal, how can we get a legal opinion from this same law firm, not ours, but this new one,
Mhm.
that would tell us we could pay it under protest, and then get it back if something
You mean to
comes
do
out?
that right up front?
Well, I think the ambulance authority
So
would have
you
to
would-
say, yeah, if you pay it, and we find out that you were right, and we were wrong, and ambulance authority's wrong, we're right, that we could get that $10,000 back.
So what you wanna do
Ambulance
is,
authority's gonna have to say that up front, not our lawyer.
so what you would want included in that legal opinion also is a request to find out if we can pay it under protest
No,
to be guaranteed?
no,
You
that-
don't.
our lawyer isn't gonna have anything to
Okay.
say about that.
So
It'd
that,
be the ambulance authority would say that, wouldn't it? I would think.
Well, we would
I
have to make
certainly
sure
can
that
ask.
they would agree to it.
I can
Yeah.
certainly ask it.
Well, yeah, they'd have to agree to it up
Right.
front.
Right.
I can ask,
If we paid for it under protest and then had legal counsel
Yeah,
saying that it wasn't done the correct way.
but you know what's gonna end up happening?
But if they cash the check,
They're not gonna give us $10,000 back. They're gonna keep our $10,000.
all I can do is ask
Well, I
where
know.
they would go.
I
So
know.
then I will ask
But I don't
that.
think a legal opinion is going to tell us that, do you? I mean, if you do, then fine, but I don't think it will. I think the authorization for paying under protest would have to come from the ambulance authority itself,
And
the
that's
board.
I'll ask to put on the agenda, on that ambulance authority agenda. Okay, so that's, as far as it goes, it doesn't appear like we're prepared at this time to pay that, so.
And you know what? We've tabled that,
Mhm.
we've tabled it twice, I think.
Right.
Until we get a final, or until we get their 6/30/14 financial audit. We still don't have that.
Correct, and I'm not sure when that's coming, but I think we should table it, get this attorney's
You know,
opinion,
yeah,
because
yeah,
so
yeah,
it will be
yeah,
tabled till,
yeah,
what, the April meeting?
Yeah.
The paying of the invoice is tabled. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Okay,
I'll second that.
wait a minute.
Did you
Okay.
get all that?
So paying the invoice is tabled till the April meeting, and,
Well, we tabled it until we got a financial audit.
see, I disagree with that. I think we need to just get our attorneys, this next attorney's opinion, go from there. Because we would get that attorney's opinion and then make a decision based on that. Okay, so paying invoice table till April, meaning, who was the motion? That was where it got confusing.
I heard Debbie.
You heard Debbie? Okay, who seconded? Was that Lyle?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I'd also like to ask that, when you talk to that lawyer, I'd like to talk to that lawyer, to explain to them about deficits and budgets. It's kinda,
Well,
you know,
I-
like this girl here, you can tell she didn't know anything about accounting. She didn't know anything about budgeting, she didn't know anything about financial
I
stuff.
think you would, I
I
mean, we're
will
gonna
try
get the
to-
opinion, we're gonna get their opinion, and then I think at that
Well,
point,
yeah,
you're
but
gonna
he's
have,
just gonna go by what you tell him.
I'm
You
not
don't
gonna
know
tell,
more about
I'm
it
not
than
gonna
he
tell
does.
them anything when they request these things.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say, I'm just gonna ask for a legal opinion regarding, because you're gonna have to take the articles, he's gonna have to take the whole articles, because you gotta take it in context. But still, the two portions that are questioned, if you'd like to see the letter before I send it, that's
Yes, I
not a
would.
problem. Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Debbie,
Yes.
Lyle,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Melanie,
Aye.
Deb.
What am I voting on?
To table this till the
Or
April
table it?
meeting,
Yeah,
we're getting
okay,
the,
all right, yes.
we'll get the legal opinion. That's what we're doing, okay. Are we ready to move on? That would be good. Thank you. All right, the next thing is team financial. We have a copy machine we have leased in the past, the lease is up. And we have the option to buy out for $1. If we buy it out, then we have the option of continuing a maintenance agreement with them. The cost for a page is up slightly if you just go with a maintenance agreement. However, it cuts it down from a $223.93 a month, monthly lease payment. And then we still had, that was just the lease, then we still had to pay the maintenance, I can't remember what,
Well,
Our
we paid
monthly bill was-
$315.90.
$315.90 with her, so that's about what, this would cut that down as far as our budget to
$90.
$100 a month. That would mean we keep this machine. Been a pretty good machine, every once in a while we have glitches. I did buy the wrong paper this last time, we did have more complications with this paper. Glad I only got 2 boxes and it's pretty well gone, because that, when we copied too much, it did hang up. Other than that, it seems to be working well. They've come out and fixed it still, it would cover the toner, the ink, all the repairs, the labor, so it's $100 a month to keep that machine versus $315 with the financial, or the lease agreement and the maintenance.
Did they ever give a projected life of a machine like that?
They did actually for that one. We are, I believe, 5 years out, and they give at least a 7-year. The reason they give a 7-year is after 7 years, then it's harder to get some of the parts. So then they can't always continue just a maintenance agreement. When they come out to fix it, we've had good response. This last time got a little hinky. The guy didn't quite understand what I was telling him was wrong until we could show him that there was, and it happened to be a clip, not on the outside, but a clip on the inside that was broke. And so you couldn't see it when you looked, he had to take it off. And once he did, he could see the clip, and then it would just bump out enough that it would keep just jamming. So that got fixed. That was pretty bad, but that did get fixed, and it took an extra visit, but same thing, it didn't cost any more. So my recommendation, this of course affects our upcoming budget too, but this does expire this month, is that we would exercise that dollar opt-out and move forward with just the maintenance agreement on this machine. At least a year, that is a month to month, the maintenance agreement. So if it gets 6 months down the line and we change our mind, we could review that and pursue entering into a lease with a different machine. So Debbie works with it the most, the assessor, Dick does most of the stuff he prints back in his office, so, other than a few glitches, I think it's worked well.
I make a motion to go ahead and do it.
Make a motion
Get
to
over it.
send the letter of intent, okay?
I second it.
And this does have a document number of 030915-01. So Dick motioned and Debbie supported that we opt out, pay our $1 opt-out and go with maintenance agreement. All right, roll call, please.
Dick,
Yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Melanie,
Aye.
Don,
Yes.
Lyle.
Yes.
Motion carried. I didn't know that. That's a letter I will be sending. That copy you see? Okay, here's the next big one. Solid waste. This is an upgrade to the, proposed upgrade to the solid waste transfer station. We purchased the property as the authority with help of the municipalities. The upgrade is required. as part of our purchase agreement that we put a fence around the entire premises. There is some fencing there, but we have to put a fence around the entire, and a drive that we put in a different drive. But there's also a whole litany that it takes. Part of the drive problem is cutting the property. There's a request put into the National Guard to do that. The problem with the drive is we have to put in a gutter, curb, and paved approach. Whether we put in our new drive or we continue to use Erdman's. If we continue to use Erdman's, we have to upgrade Erdman's. He still owns it. We would be paying the expense of the upgrade, plus continuing to maintain his drive that he drives semis on. He can actually kick us off that drive anytime, but he did allow us 3 years that we could stay using it. This is, we would have to relocate the building. We're currently using his electric power, so we have to move that, put in our own service. We have to move the building from where it's at in the entrance currently, because that's his drive, and move it over to the new drive. The one request by the road commission is it has to be 200 feet back, the building does, so it doesn't start the problem with the backup of cars upon the road there during Pride weeks, mostly. We're also looking, hopefully, to add in better recycling, so it gets to be single stream or dual stream recycling. Makes that easier on the people. They can bring everything together and it goes in the hoppers. And also potentially, if they go that way, the county's looking at putting hazardous waste area, they would pay that cost. We're putting that into that would be at the road side, so it's not at the farm side of that, even though, just to make sure there's no potential of anything regarding his farming operation. Other than that, this is the best guess estimate at this time was $104,800. Then we have the same type. There's a formula that's used regarding cost to municipalities. This was based on the 100,000, it's 60, 80, or 100,000. The 100,000 would make Blue Lake Townships $90,496, roughly $20,000. The solid waste authority is hoping to have this over a 2-year period, so it's a 2-year budget cycle, with the municipalities being able to put in $10,000 into their budget for the fiscal year 2016 and fiscal year 2017. Is there any questions on
What was the cost a couple years ago when we talked about this?
doing we did not know anything about having to curb, gutter, and
It was just,
pave the approach or
it
anything.
was just a different road.
Oh, no, yeah, a different road, and then it was an estimate, but then we found out where they're putting it at, and actually, it's 200 feet from Erdman's, so at that point, we don't have to put a diversion lane or whatever they call it, so that would be an additional cost if we had to do that, diversion lane. So at that time, I think numbers were batted around back and forth, but I don't think we were even close, because we didn't realize, one, we couldn't put the drive at the end by Erdman's, which means we wouldn't have all the clear cutting and brush removal and everything. And basically having to change the layout, having to change where the power comes in and everything, was not anything we projected as far as having to move that building, because we never thought we had to move from that side.
Yeah,
But now we're actually, and along the way, you've gotten different plans and stuff that are possibilities of how to lay it out. If you're going to lay it out different and put in this, all this single stream, the nice thing about that is, it's a drive up, it's the right height for putting your stuff in. Since it's all one container, it all goes in one, you're not having the people sort, you're not having all these extra things for the cardboard and everything that had to be sorted out. I'm not sure if styrofoam goes in, I think styrofoam's the one contaminant. But even so, I think it's something that we definitely can move towards, would help the public, would lessen the amount that's going to the dump. At some point, hopefully, that recycling will start actually producing money coming in. I'm not sure how that works exactly, other than volume has a lot to do with that. One thing that we know now currently, White House schools and Monty schools are not recycling. So if they could be part of this because of where they are, that would definitely help drive the volume and help probably maybe offset some
Well,
costs.
if you look at the sum weights here, Blue Lake Township, out of all these cities and townships, are second highest in
As far as
using it.
usage, correct. And we do pretty much rate there all the time. So the question is, because this is something we're looking at now, and this will be budget consideration, whether just like we did with the Pride Week and the brining, that would actually be in next year's budget. Is this something that the board wants to take action on approving at this point for the 20,000 over the 2 years, or wait and just approve it within the budget cycle? The billing out for this would not start until the beginning of July because the city's fiscal year is different than ours.
So it's over 2 years that we would have to pay the 20,000.
Correct.
And how are they billing that, monthly or
No, it would be a yearly bill.
a yearly
Yearly
bill?
bill, yes. Because you need a chunk of money up front to start
Yes.
the project,
Well, I think we should go ahead and okay it over the 2 years.
okay, do you want to make that in a form of a motion?
Okay, I move that Blue Lake Township pays for the White Lake Area Solid Waste Authority. And we don't know exactly how much it's going to be, but we want to put $20,000 aside to be able to pay that over 2 years.
Starting with fiscal year 2016.
2016.
That would be the
You're
budget
right,
we're
that's
going
the next
into?
one, yeah, you're right. Starting with fiscal year 2016.
Can you read that back, please?
Motion was for Blue Lake Township to pay for White Lake
Area solid waste
area,
authority.
area solid waste authority transfer station upgrade in the amount of 20,000 over the 2-year budget cycle starting with fiscal year 2016.
Very good.
Even though it has the dollar amount in it.
Yeah, I was
should we
gonna
say our
say,
Was it
prorated portion?
19,000?
Our prorated portion?
Okay, wait a minute, let's
Can we
get a
say
second,
that?
we'll get a second, we can, is there a second?
Also,
Okay, he wants it to actually, look, Dick's pointing out that we do have an exact amount,
No, I'm just saying, just
up to 20,
our prorated portion, and not up to, because this is just an estimate,
right,
and it's actually gonna be, if we're 19.5% on 105, it's gonna be around 21,000.
right.
So, just our prorated portion,
I agree with that,
approximately 21,000, 20 or 21, whatever you wanna put in there.
just our prorated, I like that,
Portion.
yes.
Okay, so you wanna amend your motion to say, instead of the 20,000, to say our prorated portion
Correct, so moved.
over 2 years? Okay, you did. So Lyle, do you support the amendment?
yes,
Okay, now roll call.
Debbie?
Yes.
Lyle?
yes.
Melanie?
Aye.
Jeff?
Yep.
Don?
Yes.
Motion carried. The next one is just discussion. It's too close to get to. Our building official, building inspector has resigned. He did ask in his letter as of April 1st. I told him to please give us a little more time to find a replacement. So he did agree to May 1st, an additional month. The only recommendation I've had at this point is one from Chris was Val Jensen, but also from our electrical inspector was the same gentleman. The best I can do is check and see some more. Everything I've checked with this gentleman, he has a good reputation, he works well in the rural areas. He lives locally, I believe he lives in Holton, doesn't he?
I think so.
I think he lives in Holton, and I'll double check on that. So I guess the question is, how do we wanna go about this? At this point, there's a limited amount of building inspector, building officials out there.
shouldn't we find out who does Holton, who does Cedar Creek, who does?
I certainly can and get the names and
At
find
least
out,
have two that
and find out if there's
can,
any,
yeah.
right.
Ron Stitt does Holton's.
Said Ron Stitt does Holton's, but it wouldn't be hard to, what I can do is forward any information I get on local ones you're talking about. And, sure, that's what I said, all I had at the time was just this one, and that one I managed to check on, and like I said, does have a good reputation, but I'm certainly willing, so that was more discussion. Everybody think that's a good idea, just for me to see what can be local?
You say here, on
Local
what
inspector.
you've written here,
Pardon?
what you've written down
What
here,
I've
Chris is willing to stay,
Yeah,
that
Okay,
doesn't
make-
necessarily mean he will. but-
he will, that's the way I wrote it. I asked him if he would, and he
So
said he
instead
will.
of April 1, it's May 1.
Okay, I said, are you willing to stay? That gives us an extra month, because I said that's just too quick. We already are into March, so, any more?
So do we have to have that board approved then when you decide?
Two, correct. That would be bringing it back to, it's just like when we went with the other gentleman through the Muskegon, even though we had to have an immediate one because we were back inspections, that still came to the board for the board to approve us going over that contract, so yeah.
Okay.
So this would be, just don't think we'll have it together by April if we can. That would be work, and
Oh,
he's willing to transfer stuff over and step down, but he is willing to stay till May 1st.
Very good, thank you.
The tire grant. Qualified for the tire grant. The date is May 30th, 2015, 9 AM to 2 PM at Malali Park. Same place it has been in the past. Same requirements. I do not see. Oh, yeah, I do. It's down here in the fine print about this permit to transport more than 7 tires. That's not a policy, I will tell you this, at the park, at the place, they take whatever you bring. If it's 7 or 17, they take them all. But we cannot possibly tell you to transport more than the DEQ allows, so just note that the law is referred to on this sheet. Another thing I'd like to do is, I'm going to have, Kurt, there's a couple people that have abundance of tires that are by their property, and I'm going to have him send that with a letter to them, and this will be their opportunity to get rid of those tires, and if they don't, he'll have to proceed with whatever citations, because they are stored outside uncovered, and we know about the mosquitoes. So other than that, I think put it back on the website, make sure it's out there, we have it out front. Anybody word of mouth, make sure everybody knows, so that, and there's copies on the table over there of this flyer. Anything else on that?
What happened to the four-wheelers? Did they disband? or-
Yeah, they hadn't, yeah, when I tried to contact them,
It's
that
2 years
number
now they
wasn't,
haven't-
and the number wasn't, and apparently they, from what I'm understanding, they didn't do others, so I don't know if they disband or just quit that portion of what they were doing, but we haven't even seen them out as much.
No,
Yeah,
so this is a good deal since we lost the other.
yeah. Yep. Okay, the boards and commissions, this is document 030915-002. This first up is the zoning board of appeals. We have 2 names there. One is a reappointment, and that's for Jim Cordray. And then his term would expire the same as his term is for the planning commission, because he's the planning commission representative, and that would be February 9th of 2018. Do I hear a motion to reappoint Jim Cordray?
I'll make that motion.
And a motion from Dick, support by Don. All those in favor, please respond with aye.
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 Any opposed? That's all yes. And the second one is a new appointment. He lives in our township on Automobile Road. He is here with us tonight. It's Roger Dory. His appointment would expire 3/31 of 2018. And I'm not sure if there's any questions. He is here. If you have any, do you have any? If so, I can ask him to step up to the microphone.
Good looking young fella there.
He is in the back with the glasses waving, right next to the other two good-looking people. So, yes. Do you have questions, or do I have any questions from the board? I think most people kind of know who you are, or? So, I'm asking for a motion to appoint Roger Dory to
I'll make
the
it.
planning commission to expire 3/31/2018. Motion's by Dick,
I'll support.
support by Lyle. All in favor, please respond with aye.
Aye.
Oh, yes, aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Welcome to the fold. I hate to tell you this, but an application did come in, so I think I already let you know that. The next one is the Construction Board of Appeals. This one's been a little bit more difficult. It does have to have 3 members. I'm still looking for the third. The first one is for Glenn Klomp. His term would expire 3/9/2017. This would be a reappointment. Do I hear a motion to appoint Glenn Klomp?
So moved.
Okay,
I'll second.
Debbie's support by Dick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. The second appointment is for Todd Consimius, same date, 3/9/2017. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Dick,
I'll support.
Lyle. All those in favor, please respond with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and I am looking for the third for that. I will tell you, that is one that there's some information in our MTA book this month. The interesting thing is we have some honest builders out there who say they do not agree with the state laws. They do abide by them, but they certainly wouldn't want to set in judgment and impose them on someone else. So I've had 3 turn me down. Just so you know, I really appreciate their honesty. It doesn't help me. So I'm still looking for that third. I will really search hard to get something for the next meeting.
Honest.
Yes, they do exist. All right, those motion carried. We're on to clerk.
Okay, got one new vendor, International Code Council, and we had to order code books from them.
Do I hear a motion to approve document 030915-03, new vendor?
So moved.
Debbie,
I'll support.
support by Lyle. All those in favor? Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Oh, yes. Okay, now's the next one.
Okay. I don't have to get too excited about
No,
this,
don't
because you
get
don't want
excited.
$10,000 for it.
Don't get excited. You don't
But,
have to get excited anyway.
when you want $10,000 from me. All right, I think we need to replace our lawyer. And that's because here we have, like we talked about a little while ago, an attorney giving a legal opinion. It's from the White Lake Ambulance Authority, which is their client. But, according, and they're also our lawyer, the same lawyer as our lawyer, the township's lawyer. And that's a clear violation of the Code of Ethics. And I've got something here from the State Bar of Michigan that specifically states, a lawyer shall not represent a client if the representation of that client will be directly adverse to another client. And that's exactly what this opinion is. This is adverse, the opinion is for the ambulance authority, and it's adverse against Blue Lake Township. They should not have ever issued this opinion. Not this lawyer, because it's our lawyer too. So if we've got a lawyer that is either willing to do this, or wasn't aware that they weren't supposed to do this, we shouldn't have this lawyer as our lawyer. This law firm needs to go, and we need to get another law firm. And Lyle was talking about, I guess Dalton and Cedar Creek have a lawyer over in Grand Rapids, a law firm. We should find out that name, see what Dalton, see what Cedar Creek thinks about him, and talk to him about hiring him as our lawyer. If we don't like that, we can get another, go to another law firm too.
I think we
and
would
see
want to
what-
do that.
Yeah, just the same thing as we're gonna with whatever, the building inspector. You at least have to have 2, so, but this law firm has to go. We cannot continue to pay fees to this law firm when, I mean, you know darn well why they went, and they gave an opinion to the ambulance authority that was adverse to us, because the ambulance authority pays them a whole heck of a lot more money than we pay them. So,
Well, I'm not sure what that is, but,
well,
so you're
why did they
looking
give us an
at,
opinion?
you're looking at, well,
We
they
have
didn't,
to change lawyers,
they didn't give us opinion, they gave the ambulance an opinion, but that's okay.
same thing.
What are you talking about for firms? You're talking about the one,
The one
It is-
that, yeah,
but we would
But-
need to know
What?
what it is you're talking about as far as requesting this from
we
law firms.
requesting what?
Are you looking for a proposal from law firms, or what are you looking for?
Well, I'm looking for not necessarily an official bid, because I don't like professionals bidding.
Okay,
That to me, I
no,
don't like that. So,
Yeah.
we should find out who this law firm is first of all.
sure, that's easy
Lyle was
enough to
talking
do.
about,
Mhm.
and just call them up and tell them we're looking for a new lawyer. What's their fees? Do they have juniors or whatever, associates or
Associates.
whatever they call them?
Associates.
That could handle some of our stuff, and then the top people, others. I mean, you don't wanna get the top people, I don't know who he's talking about, Warner, Norcross, and Jet, you don't want
No,
the top guy, cause that's $400, $500, $600 an hour.
Warner
You don't
Norcross
want
and
that.
Judge is part of who sued the township.
No, we don't want them either.
Who cares? Just
But anyway,
For the
and then-
Chicago Area Council.
See who, other people are using, but I don't think it should be in this area, because we may end up with the same kind of thing.
Okay, so
One
what,
lawyer handles another, you know, the lawyer handles one client and they also handle us. You can't have that. If there's gonna be any kind of conflict, I wanna try to avoid that if we can.
so what, that's why I'm asking.
We don't have we don't have a lawyer come here and sit. The
No.
lawyer doesn't have to come here.
We didn't have, just during the Chicago thing. We
Yeah,
did
well,
have
that's a little
them.
different.
Yeah, that was
But I
quite,
mean, in general, we don't have to have a law firm that's gonna come here all the time.
no, in fact, if you notice, I rarely have had to use the law firm, but hit and miss, and some gets paid back. You have to
But
look at the past,
We
it's
still,
really.
I think we need to replace our lawyer, that's my main.
So, but I'm asking you how you want to proceed with that. Most
Okay, I
times you
make a
go for
motion.
proposals.
I make a motion
Mhm.
that we approach two separate law firms. First of all, the one Lyle talked about, and then somebody of your choice. Find out who, I don't know, who does Whitehall, who does, I don't know who even does Fremont. Find out a law firm, another law firm that we can call, and ask them the various questions about what they charge, what,
Right.
if they have associates. It's an
Right.
awful long.
No, I've got down what they charge, if associates can be used for
Right.
general, legal, is what, one of the things you're asking, right?
Right,
Okay.
because we don't need a top guy all the time.
Mm-mm. No, and we don't even use them in the firms we got right now, so you're talking about two different law firms. One is the one Dalton,
Don't see the cricket.
Yep.
Lyle was mentioning.
yep, and then whatever, and another.
This is how we're going about, who we're going to use, ask the questions about White Lake Ambulance then?
I
Well,
would-
we've already made that
Right.
Okay.
decision, we're gonna use the
Right.
one Lyle was talking.
Okay,
What we're doing now is changing lawyers.
I understand.
I'm making a motion to actually fire Williams and Hughes and hire a new lawyer. To act as our
You don't wanna
attorney
wait
for-
until after we try this other lawyer and see if we like him?
Well,
Well, it's
actually,
gonna come out.
if I'm getting fees, that won't come till next month's meeting, and
Okay.
hopefully we'll have it at the same time.
All right,
Yeah.
so we're just, making a motion to allow you to get information for the next meeting. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess
just,
I better put it that way, because,
Okay.
okay, we're definitely gonna, you're gonna have to start.
Okay. A motion to obtain various information, I guess. Fees, whether an associate can use, do we need to put all that in there?
And, well, yeah,
From two different law firms. And then at April meeting.
and bring the
decide-
information back to
bring the
the
information to the
April meeting.
There we can decide what we're gonna do there.
So at this time, we are getting information and we'll make a decision in April, so.
As to who to go with.
Okay, do I hear support for that? And I guess we will have Laura read it back.
I'll try that. Motion was made to obtain information from 2 separate law firms regarding fees and use of associates.
One law firm being the
One
one
law
used
firm
by
being-
Dalton and Cedar Creek.
One law firm being the one used by Dalton and Cedar Creek Township, and one other.
Bring info back to April meeting.
In
And bring
area,
info back.
in an area outside here though. Away from this area.
Okay, so you want to obtain info from 2 separate law firms
In another area,
Hmm.
outside our
in county, I guess.
town.
Yeah. Then we can go to Oceana and maybe Kent, Ottawa. There's lawyers in Grand Haven.
And there's flyers everywhere.
Oh,
Okay, what I have is motion to obtain 2 separate fee schedules and for charges and associates. Whether associates can be used for general legal, I don't know if all that has to be included in there. From, one being from Dalton, the firm used by Dalton Township, and another outside area, and bring info back to April meeting. Is that kind of what you have? That's kind of what you have.
It'll sound better when I type
Okay,
it
How
out.
are you taking
All
it,
that
Dawn?
stuff.
we have a motion by Dick, does you support that, Lyle? Okay, roll call, please.
Dick,
Yes.
Lyle,
Yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Don, Melanie.
Aye. Whoops. Aye. Motion carried. Okay, the next one, fire chief? I do have a note for you once you get started.
Okay, I'm asking the board to adopt the International Fire Code, the 2015 edition, as the legal fire code for the township. I believe the International Fire Code is already being used. 2009 edition.
No, last one I thought was 2003.
Wow.
But my problem is, and I directed this to MTA because I wanted to know how we have to adopt these.
And that-
Keep adopting the amended versions. It says it depends on how it was formed initially and adopted. And because of that, we should actually find out from our attorney because we have to adopt them, we want to adopt them so we don't have to ever adopt them again. But in the current state, it appears that is not how we've adopted them. We've adopted them by ordinance, which means the next one we would still have to adopt by ordinance and then include the ability to, the amended, or however they put it for each year, because they don't rewrite it, it's just amended year to year, the same as building codes. So we need to be able to incorporate that language in, but it appears we're going to have to go by adoption of ordinance, which means the board can move on it, but we still have to do the publication. So there's an additional cost we have to find out for that, and I have to find out how much of a synopsis, actually, Dick would have to find out how much of a synopsis would have to be put in for each one, because that also affects all our building codes that we're coming into the new one. So can we put it all in one ordinance, and we'll find out. Because it definitely, because your request to adopt it is something we need to move forward on, it's just how we have to do it at this point. It can't just be by motion at this point.
Okay, well, that's worth tabling,
Yeah.
but will it be,
I'm
how soon
hoping,
will it be acted upon? Going through your.
oh, absolutely, because we need to do this also with our building codes, because my understanding is we adopted them, those building codes, in the same manner where we kept adopting and repealing and adopting, instead of making it a living thing. So we need to make it living so that we don't have to continue down that road in the future, that it automatically can be just adopted or accepted by the board and move forward. Especially because the state requires we follow them, but it also says we have to adopt them in the right manner. But we still have to follow
Well,
them,
once you get this adoption thing, I'll
Yep.
bring that up again, to recommend it to you.
so we would
The,
table, I'm hoping to have it for the April, so So we,
Okay.
so I hear a motion to table document 030915-04 to the April meeting.
So moved.
Thank you.
I'll support.
Motion by Debbie, support by Lyle. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, because that made me find out how we have to adopt the other ones, unfortunately. All right. That moves to Lyle. Now we get to the good part. Lyle.
Tonight, we have a cake and coffee and pop to celebrate the 150th anniversary of our township. We know that's in March, but we don't have the exact date, and we're gonna try and research and get some more details. On June 20th, that's a Saturday in June, 1 to 4, we're gonna have a celebration party for the 150th year. And it'll be here at the town hall. We hope to have hot dogs, chips, cake again, punch or soft drinks, coffee, just to celebrate the history of our township. With that in mind, I would ask if any of you have pictures, history of the township, something that's happened. We'd like to have 2, 3, 4 display tables with all that information on it for that day. And so if you have something, contact me, we can figure out how to get together and set up a display. The second part of that gathering in June, Bill Hansen is writing a book on Blue Lake Township, and he will have it finished at that time. And he's gonna start selling the books, and he'll be here that day to sign them. So if you bought a book, he will sign it as the author, and it'll be a keepsake for you. So, like I said, any information you come up with, I'd appreciate hearing about it. Just write down June 20th in your date book for June.
And you'll be here afterwards for cake, so if anybody wants to talk to you, that's wonderful.
You might wanna look at the cake tonight, it's in honor of the 150th, and we put the dates on it.
There's one little faux pas with the date, but that's okay. We just reversed the last two numbers. It should be 65 instead of 56.
Is that what they put on it?
Yeah. I transposed the last two numbers,
I
so
didn't even
it's
notice.
March 1865 to March 2015.
Yeah.
So yes, that's 150 years. So, but that's okay.
You got 1815?
They have 1865, or 1856.
Oh.
They just transposed the last two numbers, so.
Did you notice that?
It's still gonna taste really good.
But
It's gonna taste really good, Lyle. Okay.
we'll still use it.
Accounts payable? Did we get accounts payable?
Yep.
Was it
Right
sitting over here?
underneath the combined banner.
Okay. What's that, is it sitting over here? Thank you. All right. Accounts payable, you got them?
Okay, the general fund was $3,667.81. Fire equipment fund, $2,051.06. Fire operating fund, $4,558.28. Street lighting fund, $175.93. Building inspection fund, $601.55. For a grand total of $11,054.63, and I make the motion that we pay that amount.
And I second.
Motion by Lyle, support by Debbie. Roll call, please.
Lyle,
Yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Melanie,
Aye.
Dick,
Yes.
Don.
Good.
Motion carried.
Okay, the next item we have to take care of is the net payroll, and that is $11,078.50, and I make the motion that we pay that amount.
And I support.
Roll call, please.
Lyle,
Yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Melanie.
Aye. Motion carried.
And the last fund that we have is the electronic fund transfer, and that is $2,449.50, and I move that we pay that also.
And I second it.
A roll call, please.
Lyle,
Yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Melanie,
Aye.
Don.
Yes,
Motion carried. Okay, before we go to public comment, board member comments?
I've made no money.
Okay.
Oh, I can let everybody know that we did get our buttons and it was $250, and now if we have any emergency, we have a button we can push at our desks, so.
Yep.
You gave me $500,
Up to 500?
up to 500, it ended up being $250. So money well spent.
And one here.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other board member comments? Before we go to public comments, we have two county officials here. So we'll start with Mr. Mahoney. I'm sure you have a little bit of an update for the board, you and the people, you can.
Major project right now is in Muskegon and Muskegon Heights with a grant to pretty much tear down about 200 blighted homes. I'm going to a session tomorrow and Wednesday about possibly recycling some of the stuff that we get from them. It's a big project coming up with DEQ and so forth. Other than that, the jail's moving along. If you've been by, you can see the outside's all pretty much done. We're working on the second, third floor at this point, and hopefully by June, the building will be complete. Probably will not be until August before we start moving, getting people in. You'll have a period of time where the staff has to be trained in the new facility. Things are going well.
Good, thank you.
And I will be able to say sesquicentennial pretty soon.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, county administrator, and you're gonna have to tell me your name again because I haven't repeated it like 7 times yet.
Hello, this is Mark Eisenbarth. I'm here to really introduce myself to you and to the public here. Say hi. Been in the role since November 7th. And obviously learning a lot and going around and visiting all the townships and cities, doing the same thing, saying hi to them. And if there's ever any questions, please give me a call. I'll use another minute and a half to talk a little bit about the Brown Pond. If you guys have any questions, I can answer those questions as well. It's my understanding petitions may be submitted tomorrow, and the full board will act on that. And the process would be for us to hire an engineer firm to come in and take a look at the lake elevation and see what the elevation should be set at.
Okay, that's the part where the board, the whole board is going to decide on that. It was sent to the, I thought it was already sent to the DPW, but.
Right, it goes to the public works, because the public works will be the ones handling. But according to the opinions here, we had to have it approved by the full board as well,
Okay.
which will be done tomorrow.
Okay, and then the question is, and this is one that Norm has asked too, this is the question that would be, they're seeking bids for this. How quick do they plan to get this in? Because the Browns Pond Dam Association people are asking for the township to release $10,000 out of that escrow fund to pay for this cost that's required.
Right.
Which is what they estimated it to be, but that's going to be based on these proposals you're getting.
Yeah, we'll send out RFQs, we get different opinions back, different bids back, we'll review those. I can share those with you as well. The idea is obviously to keep it under 10,000. And if there's anything else, John mentioned to me that he'd be interested in dam inspection along with that, so if that's.
Right, and I'm trying to follow up on that with the state, because that was a question of where we were in the process, and with that I'm following up on, but my question, I guess, is that going to be, once these RFQs are sent out, how long do they have to respond?
We usually give engineers for this type of estimate 2 to 3 weeks, say 3 weeks.
Okay,
Ideally though, if you let the snow melt anyway, you have to come out and do some engineering surveys and really see where the water elevation is. We want to find out where the lowest basement in the area is. So there's some things that data needs to be collected and be addressed with the snow, it's melting.
Okay, the reason I asked is I wanted to make sure that it didn't fall in this fiscal year, where we have to make a budget amendment versus our fiscal year starting in April first, because it is in the information for the board to review for the budget, upcoming budget fiscal year. That money is being released to
So when's
pay
your
for that.
beginning of your fiscal year?
April first.
Yes, that's no problem.
Okay, I just wanted to double check.
No, we'll cover the cost of front and, send an invoice up here.
What's that business with the inspection I asked about in that letter?
That's what I'm asking, that's what I'm trying to follow up on, getting that inspection, because when I inquired, part of the problem is getting Mr. Trumbull to respond, but that's okay, I'm still working on that. But the, question is, what they were currently going to do involve? And that's where I'm going to get back a hold of John, because I said, there's some confusion on our part of what you're sending proposals out on, what is that, and that's, so tomorrow I'm trying to get a hold of John, he was out of town last week, into last week.
What was that business that said they had to go by March second, I think it was?
Yeah, March.
We could have a
March
free inspection.
Right,
They had to
that's
go
what
by
I'm,
March second.
that's what I'm trying to find out, if we still can, one, and how that fits in with this process of what they're already getting. Because
Are we gonna end up having to pay for an inspection?
I'm hoping not, but it's not, that's what I'm hoping, I'm trying to hope that the Brown Pond Dam people don't have to pay for the inspection. On top of, no, you're right,
In the township.
no,
No,
this falls under the cost. of
in our
engineering.
application, we're not asking for an inspection. If we were, that would be an additional fee that would come up to the board.
Well, that's what I said, when I found that out, so I'm following up on that, but that's what I'm following up on, your question. But, okay, tomorrow, what time's their board meeting?
4 PM.
I won't be there. For a reason, but thank you.
Thank you.
And does the board have any other questions? Okay, are you gonna stick around a little bit, so if
Yes.
anybody over here does, okay? All right, thank you. Public comment.
I want cake.
I know, and coffee. Any public comment? All right, hearing no public comment, the meeting is adjourned at 8:01 p.m.
Fred,